Hey, this is Susan Blanton with the Create Happy Now podcast, and welcome back to the Intuitive Masters of Happiness series. This is the 17th episode of 20, and we have 3 more after today. We have been exploring what your intuition is, how to connect with yours, and all the magic that happens when you strengthen your intuition. So make sure to stay tuned every Wednesday as we feature one guest interview from the Intuitive Masters of Happiness conference held in February of 2023. We had such an awesome turnout that we wanted to make all 20 interviews available to you in an audio version on the Create Happy Now podcast and YouTube channel. Now, if you want to watch the interviews rather than just listen to the audio version, you can download all 20 interviews today to have in your own library for $27.95, which is $20 off the VIP access package that was offered in February. You can go to my website, createhappynow.com, and go to the events tab to get your download today. Before I get to my next guest, for those of you who struggle with quieting your mind and want to be able to do it in an easier, more creative way and learn how to start your journey to happiness, abundance, peace, and purpose, and say yes to life every day, I want to remind you that I have a new meditation app coming out just in a few more weeks that is designed to do just that. I also have a new meditation YouTube channel. Both are called Create Happy Meditations. If you would like to be on the waiting list for the app, go to my website, createhappynow.com, and click on the meditation app tab and sign up today. Last week, Melinda Van Fleet and I discussed how you can recognize your intuition today and how you may have already been using it and didn't know it. How intuition leaves breadcrumbs for you and how to find them. My next guest is Tessa Greenspan. Tessa is one of the most influential women in business. As the former owner of Sappington Farmers Market in St. Louis, Missouri for 28 years, Tessa continues to be involved in many business enterprises, including becoming a best-selling author with her work, From the Outhouse to the Penthouse. Tessa is best known for her leadership in business and in life. She has been a personal mentor to many women business owners. She has sponsored countless charitable causes, and Tessa has also touched innumerable lives with her inspiration and practical know-how. Tessa speaks to groups about business, motivation, resiliency, mindfulness, and the 5 pillars of health. Tessa believes that a positive mental attitude, a willing, tenacious spirit, and a healthy body are keys to success. As an exemplary role model in the world of business, Tessa has received numerous business awards, is recognized on the local, national, and international level, and is well known for her generosity, her can-do attitude, and her commitment to giving back to her community. Well, welcome, Tessa. I'm so glad you were able to join us today. And I'm really excited for you to talk about your book that's going to become a movie.
Thank you so
and I
much.
just wanted them to hear how, tell about your book and how intuition was definitely a key to getting the book, what your story was, and also how it's now offering you the ability to get it into a movie.
Well, thank you so much, Susan, by the way. And the intuition, I think, is something that develops over time.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're growing up, the book is my life, and it's from the beginning. My example was my mother. My mother really paid attention to her intuition. By the way, what I feel intuition is God within.
Mm-hmm.
This is my opinion. It's God within that is prompting us when we listen. So I've used my intuition and still do every day. It's sitting with it. I have a process that I do in the mornings that I meditate, which I feel is listening to God. And I have readings that I read. I have other things that I do. I write down also everything that I'm grateful for this day. And I do it at nighttime too. And I suggest that everyone do this. Write down at least 5 things or say it to yourself, but writing it down really is very good for you. It's much better even than thinking about it. But there's so many things we get caught up many times of the day-to-day and different challenges in life. The thing of it is, when you say what you're thankful for, this really helps your mind, first of all, and it makes you more aware that we have so much to be thankful and grateful for. And that's really what I do as a process to begin with in the morning.
That's a great habit. And as a matter of fact, that just reminded me back when I was a recruiting director, every morning I would have all of my employees send everybody the 5 things that they're grateful for that day. And it definitely really, I mean, as a business owner or a boss, or maybe you're just, with the friends, just to share with each other, what are you grateful for today? List 3 to 5. And it opens up such conversations and connection, not just with your inner being, but with friends and family and your coworkers.
Well, appreciating people too, not only being thankful, but telling these people. I mean, you can think it, but tell these people what you appreciate. I really appreciate your laugh. I really appreciate your thoughtfulness and whatever. If you can do 5 things of people that you work with or that you're in contact with, what you appreciate about them, it really makes a difference in their life. It helps you to be more aware also.
Oh, yes. Yes. And then you keep looking for more, right?
Exactly.
I know some companies do call outs ever so often. They might just say, hey, this person really helped me with my project. I would have been lost without them, and things like that. And people really like to be the recipient of those. It really feels good to be the person calling out and being the receiver of that appreciation. So it's a win-win.
That reminds me of when I had the store and I had 80 employees. I had a supermarket like a Whole Foods, and I would get on the PA when a cashier did something. I would say, Pam gets a star and a candy bar for good customer service, or today is somebody's birthday. Everybody wished them a happy birthday. So I would several times throughout the day say, when somebody did something, hey, Jose gets a great star for great customer service and helping that customer. So again, people they appreciate you just recognizing them. It's so rare anymore. I mean, most of the time when you're in a company, they find fault with you rather than what you did well. So that's really my mode of what I did.
That's such a great reminder for all those out there that maybe manage people, or even if you're a parent, to recognize things your
Especially when you're a
children do right. Oh my gosh, you did such a good job at this, and thank you for making your bed this morning. And oh, you got up on time today. Wow, that's awesome. And then they want to do it again, right? They want to do it again.
Well,
Dogs are the same way. If you do this, if you don't have any children and you have a dog, appreciate the dog, reward them for things that they have done well, or your husband or your wife. Everybody wants to hear it. That, positive reinforcement does go a long way. So I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So tell us a little bit more about your book, From the Outhouse to the Penthouse, and how your story went. I mean, just kind of give us a little idea about it, and so we can looking forward to the book and the movie that's coming out. Tell us about that.
Well, it started with the beginning. My mother was from the back hills of Arkansas, and she was raped when she was 14 years old, and I am the result of that. And the greatest thing, though, she was an amazing role model. She loved me unconditionally, and many times that does not happen with children of assault. And she was a role model all of her life. I mean, it tells about the amazing hardships that she went through and how she overcame. This book is really, really motivating, inspiring, encouraging, helping you to know that you are worthy, so many other things. And then I had businesses and where I was able to accomplish a lot. And again, it's from intuition, and it's having a role model. And if it's not a mother, then it can be a friend, an aunt, a cousin. So many people, nearly everyone has that kind of role model that really helps them in some way. So I had a great role model, several, in my life, and that helped immensely. But the intuition, my mother would tell me, even when I was young, and then when I was a little bit older, she would say, if you start to get on a plane and you don't feel right, do not get on that plane. So other examples she would give me, and that's intuition. If you do not feel right about something, pay attention. And many times people can say when they go against that feeling, some things have happened that are not really good for you. So it
Or
would
if it's an opportunity and it's telling you to go
exactly.
for it and you don't, and you're like, oh, I wish I had. But it's not just those feelings of, no, this is not a good. And it's not really out of fear. It's just kind of, no is the answer. Not, I'm scared. It's just, no, it doesn't feel right. Right. It's not a fear. It's more of a instruction.
It is, and I'll give you an example. When a person's name comes to your mind, to call them or contact them or whatever, it's so important to do this. This has happened to me many times. I pay attention to it. One friend, I hadn't spoken to her in a long time. Her name came to my mind, and I called her. She really needed encouragement. Her mother just died.
Oh,
So pay attention when a name comes to your mind or when a thought comes to your mind, pay attention.
yes, absolutely. And if you can't call them or something, I mean, just send that person, good vibes of thought and well-being to them until you can call them because you're not sure what's moving you to call them. But if for some reason, let's say you're on the plane, you can't call them right now,
That's
just
true.
just
Mhm.
send them that
Oh,
well-being and
mhm,
until you're able to call them. And
exactly.
yeah, yeah. So tell us how you came to write the book in the first place.
Well, actually, my daughter, well, everyone has told me for years that it would be really good to write a book. And so my daughter said, I think it's time that you wrote a book. And this is really a great thing, a great lesson too. I wrote the book. I wrote the book in a month.
Whoa.
And I had help. And an editor, and I had lots of help, as a matter of fact. And my goal, I'm a big self-help groupie, but I was going to Bob Proctor's Matrix, a week-long self-development in Toronto, and I wanted to get that done. On the cover of the book, I put forward by Bob Proctor. I had not been there, I had not met him, but I had put that on. When I
Whoa,
got
boy, you put that out to the universe, didn't you? And by the
that,
way, some people may not know who Bob Proctor is, but one way they can see him is he was featured in The Secret, both in the book and the movie.
Mhm. And he's passed, and I
Yeah.
was one of the last persons that he wrote the foreword. And a couple of days later, I brought the cube to
Flash drive.
for him to look, flash drive, and I asked him if he would look at this and if he would write the foreword, and he did.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I knew I could have taken it off of the cover, but I just knew that he was going to do it. And this is intuition also. And it also is putting it out there before before it even becomes fact.
Yeah, just setting an intent. Just like
Exactly.
I want this, and you put some action toward it, and not be and the key I think was you were okay if he didn't.
Yes, I was.
Right. You weren't desperate that
No, that
he was going to
that
be the right, the forward. So I've noticed in my experience, when I'm not desperate, I'm okay with a yes or a no, or how it's going to come out, and I let it go. That's when the most benevolent, the best outcome surfaces.
we can't be attached to the
Yeah,
outcome is really in my mind, I can't be attached to the outcome. You can have what the outcome is, though, in many other ways, just not be attached to the way that it works.
exactly. Like for instance, just simply, if you're a kid wanting a bike, you're not saying, I want this model and this color and this size and has this stuff. I mean, you just, I want a bike,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes, yes.
And you
Mhm.
might get like something better than you even thought of, right?
Well, I
Um,
always add or more or better.
mhm.
Anytime I am saying something, when I want something, I want this or more or better. I always, and I mentor a lot of especially women, and I always teach them this, and it works.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. So tell us a little bit about your morning routine that you were speaking of, because you said you practice intuition every day.
Yes.
And I think that's super important when you're really wanting to get to know how to communicate with your intuition and strengthen it and really utilize it, to its fullest. And when you were telling me earlier about your routine, I think that is a super great idea that people should look to implement. So, can you tell us a little bit about that?
I do it every morning because I feel that this is a way for me to start my day off. I meditate, I read, I sit for and just clear my mind. And if certain thoughts come to me, then I know this is it. I have readings that I read. I then write some of these things, and then I write the 5 or more things that I'm thankful and grateful for. And I am so grateful. I love my life. I am so thankful and grateful for my life and for my goal. My goals in life is to live full out, healthy, touch as many people as I possibly can in a positive way, to live a life of significance and to leave a legacy of positivity.
And that is so great. And the thing is that you do have contrast that comes into your life. You
Oh,
have problems that come
absolutely.
up. You have certain things that might cause you sadness, but you're able to ride the wave of that, right?
Ex- Exactly. And I've had lots of tragedies in my life. And not too long ago, my grandson died. So
Oh,
lots of
yeah.
tragedies that are really hard to overcome. It's really what we have to be thankful and grateful for. And that really is, I'm so grateful that I had him for as long as I did. And so it's all good.
Yeah, there's a lot of tragedies and things that happen to us that we don't know what the bigger picture is as to why that happened. I mean, case in point of your mother, I mean, the end doesn't justify the means, but your mother was able to be a wonderful mother to you and uh, created a beautiful relationship. She was a beautiful mother to you, uh, regardless of how you came into this world. It was beautiful.
It
She
was.
made it beautiful.
She did. hmm She did.
And it was
And
because she had a choice. She had a choice, right?
and we all have choices. Every single day we have a choice of what we eat, of what we do, of whether we exercise, of whether we work on our mind. I work on rewiring my brain every single day.
That's really important
Yes.
because we can't, whatever we don't use, we lose or it atrophies, right?
Mhm.
Um, so that's super important. And choice of how we're going to feel, right?
exactly, exactly of how we're going to feel. I'm going to make this a great day. And I say, it's a good day to have a good day every single day. And it doesn't mean that we're thrown off, but I associate throwing off to the, like we're in a plane and the plane is thrown off course, but they keep correcting. And I feel that's exactly what I do. I keep correcting, being aware when I have a negative thought or whatever, and then I switch it to something positive.
Course correct. Pivot.
Course correct. Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Well, and two, I mean, a lot of times people out there will have a knee-jerk response,
Yes.
or some people call it they're triggered.
Yes.
You can notice, I mean, first thing you can do is notice that does that to you, or you just got that feeling of response. So you have a choice of what to do with that.
Exactly. Many people don't realize that. Many people do not, but it's practice. It isn't an immediate kind of thing. It's being aware first, and being aware that you're aware, and then switching. And when you do that enough, that rewires your brain to where it one is automatic. When you're not going to let that thoughts are things, and we can stop them.
Exactly. And I think another thing that I learned, because I was such a people pleaser and perfectionist, and all that came along with that, and I realized that it's my responsibility to create my happiness. It's not anyone else's. Someone doesn't make me happy or make me sad or make me angry or make me disappointed. I chose to have that emotional response to that external uh, environment, or action to me, or words that were said. I chose how to react to that. And so that's all on me to decide how I'm going to respond to certain things. But in turn, also, I'm not responsible for anybody else's happiness. It's their
No.
responsibility. Now, that doesn't give you license to just treat everybody mean, and then they just got to take it how it is. If you are responsible for your own emotions, then you're going to also be very cognizant of how you treat other people, and you're going to be a little bit more sensitive, as well. So it just turns into just being responsible for your own happiness.
It really is. And it's really important to love ourselves. And there's mirror work that Louise Hay and many other persons have shown you how to do this. We do have a choice. And we are not here to fix other people. We are here to fix ourselves, work on ourselves. We cannot change. There's a saying that a person of the same, you cannot convince a person against their will.
Yeah.
Because they are of the opinion still. When you can try everything. And this really goes for people who are alcoholics or drug addicts. We can give them all kinds of things. We can try and try and try until they make that decision themselves. They are not going to overcome anything. They
That's
have to
so true.
too, just little things even, or choosing better foods is another little thing. Until you make the choice, I'm going to make a choice of fruit instead of a sweet. You, me, cannot make any changes.
Exactly. Well, guys, your wisdom and ideas and habits that people could adopt are so profound. I definitely think this will help people get some of their happiness started on the right path. Even if you just journal, every morning and write a few things down, that's a great start to anybody on their journey to happiness. So I appreciate you joining us today, and I wanted the listeners and those watching to have the opportunity to learn about how they can get a hold of you if they want to know more about you, maybe get a copy of the book. So what do you have going that you can share with them today?
The book is available on Amazon. It's From Outhouse to Penthouse by Tessa Greenspan. My website is tessagreenspan.com. My email is tessa@tessagreenspan.com. So there, any of those ways. And I might suggest, if anybody wants to follow me, another way that I can make a difference, every single day on Facebook, where it has love on the banner, I post positive messages. And I want everyone to know that you are worthy. You are worthy. And that's really, I post wonderful messages every single day to show, gratefulness, happiness, thought-provoking, but every single day, at least 2 or 3 positive messages. So if you want to follow me, it's Tessa Greenspan, and love is in the banner.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and all of your wisdom. And I encourage everybody to check her website out or buy the book or join her Facebook group. So thank you so much. And I hope you guys take some of her advice, because she's got some great nuggets there.
Thank you so much, Susan.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Create Happy Now podcast. Please be sure to subscribe, and if you are watching on YouTube, hit that notification bell. If you have a topic to suggest, please leave a comment below. Catch the Create Happy Now podcast on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Audible, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Listen Notes, and Podchaser. Check out other YouTube videos on the Create Happy Now YouTube channel. And if you want more, check down below for resources, courses, and events, or go to www.createhappynow.com.